Alright, man, well, I gotta give you a 24-hour update on this knife. I've had it for a couple of days now, maybe 3, I guess. And the thing is that today was the first day I actually used it. I used it at work, and man, I like some things about it. I don't like some things about it. We're gonna get into that. I did not come on the road without a backup. I also brought my Diaz knife. This is a Julio Diaz custom. It's called the Lycos. I can carry this thing, man, all day and forget it's here. If you're new to the channel, sometimes I do rambling videos. This is going to be one of those. I am going to tell you all my thoughts about this knife that I have so far. But I also brought my Spyderco PM2 in copper and Rex 45. And this knife never lets me down. I love this knife. But let's get back into the Ozark Trail. What did you carry? Let me know what you carried today in the comments below. I want to know. All right, so what I like about the knife is that it did work. You know what I mean? Like, it worked just fine. And this is the bad one. This was the one that had the really sticky action, and after flipping it 75-80 times a day, the action's actually freed up quite a bit. On the flip side of that, sometimes I take it out of my pocket and it's already halfway open, and it got me. And that was in one of those situations. I didn't take it out of my left pocket, I took it out of my right pocket. I just didn't know it was halfway open, and I didn't look. So I went to grab some plastic that would be close to the knife, and the knife was already open before I was ready to open it. But anyway, I have noticed that the lock disengages very easily. Like if you do a reverse thumb flick, I mean a middle finger flick, often, well, if you get your finger out of the way of that Axis style lock, y'all see me, I just scared the shit out of myself. I thought I was gonna drop the knife. But if you get your finger out of the way, a lot of times, you see that, like, so, you know, you'll actually be putting a little bit of pressure, back pressure on the Axis lock, or the bar lock. Let's call it a bar lock, and it'll keep it from locking. You know, so I just use the thumb stud with the thumb. But anyway, what I like about the knife, man, is it held an edge good, and that burr that I was telling you about, all of them had it. All of them had a little burr. It seems to be gone. That may have happened while I was cutting cardboard. It just kind of like took care of itself type thing. It could have happened while I was running it through the shrink wrap that I have to work with. I don't know. I have not tried to cut any paper with it. I don't expect it to cut paper. Like, I really don't. I did not expect it to make it through the day, though. I've had way more expensive knives that didn't make it through a solid day on a factory edge, and this one actually did just fine. Man, that's not bad. I mean, it's not the cleanest sounding. You know, a lot of you guys know when you cut paper, if it's doing more cutting than tearing, and it's not the cleanest sounding cut, but you know, it's just some standard copy paper. I like the little thing, man. I do. I'm impressed, especially for the money, and I don't know, man. Like, I may have to get a bug out of it. I may have to eat all my crow and just grab a bug out at some point. But if I do, I'm probably gonna get one that's got like a carbon fiber or something to that extent. You know, maybe even like the titanium handle one or whatever. I don't know. It's not gonna be anytime soon. I'm not really in buy mode right now. You know, I make knives, and a lot of my money is just going toward machinery and stuff like that for making my own knives. So buying these little cheap knives is actually gives me a reason to buy something, and I very much appreciate all the interaction in the video from yesterday. Even the negative stuff, man. There was some people who were like, "Hey, man, this fucking knife ain't available. Ain't no reason in doing a video on it." And I was like, I literally just picked the damn thing up. You know, I walked into a Walmart, I bought 3, I got home with them. A couple of hours later, we did the HRC test on them, and I popped the video out that day. So they are available. They might not be available at your Walmart. I'm sorry about that. It took me 5 trips to the Walmart in order to be able to get one, and I think that's another negative about it. You know, like, they're not readily available for everybody, but don't get pissy because you failed to pick one up so far. Let's get into that. You know, like, I mean, after the 4th trip up there, I was like, man, I'm gonna talk to this cashier. It was the same cashier that was been back there. She's been back there the entire time. Every time I go back there to check, and she just started shaking her head when I walked up on the 4th time, and I was like, listen, you know, is there any way we can add each other on Facebook? Courtney was with me. Can we just add each other on Facebook, and whenever you see some available, would it be too much to ask if you like let me know? She said not a problem. It was less than a week later, you know, I guess when they got their next truck in, she said, hey, I got a box back here and it's got 10 of these knives in it. How many do you want? You know, and I was like, 3, you know, and so that left 7, and she even messaged me yesterday, 2 days after I bought these, and said the other 7 hadn't been sold yet. So they're, you know, they're just waiting for somebody to buy them. But up until that point, they were kind of hard to come by. And I completely understand. And there's going to be impossible to come by at some of you guys' Walmarts. But regardless of the availability of the knife, if you get one, it's worth $10. It's worth more than that. It's worth, you know, it's probably why we're seeing them sell for 35 and 40 on eBay. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use this one until I get tired of using it. I'm going to send one of them to Nick Edwards at Behind the Edge. You don't know his channel, go check it out. He's actually like got a couple of knives from Walmart as well, fixed blades, and he's been doing videos on them, and you know, I think he's having fun with that too, because it's fun to buy a knife that don't set you back, that is actually usable, you know. So anyway, that's my update for it. If you got any questions, ask them below. I'd be happy to answer them. This one did, if you missed the HRC test, this one did test at 61, like 61 and a half even, I think, maybe. But you know, the other two, I think they tested 58, 59, somewhere around there. But don't take my word for it, man. I've got a very short memory. Just go watch the video if you want to. But yeah, man, $10. Action smooth right up. Courtney did take this knife apart, and she put it back together, and it, you know, like, and she could barely get it to go back together because of that D-shaped pivot that's been kind of warped out. You know, I started twisting on the pivot, and everything was turning, and that shouldn't happen when you got a D-shaped pivot. So things are kind of stripped out in there, and as a result, the blade centering is leaning to the right just quite a, you know, like quite a bit, but it's not scratching. It's not terrible, but it's, you know, it's over to the right. That's not going to be something I'm going to bitch about, not at $10. But as far as a work knife, man, you know, if a Dire Straits work knife, put it in your truck, leave it in your truck. I think it's perfect for stuff like that. Put it in your toolbox at work. You know, like, have, you know, if you can buy multiples, have some for loaners. You know, like, you know, somebody, you can hand this knife to somebody, especially if you break it in a little bit, and get it good to go. Lube it up a little bit, adjust that pivot, put some skiff bearings on it. I'm playing, but you know, if you get it good, and you hand it to somebody and they use it, and just tell them they can have it, man. You might turn somebody into a knife guy, and what is a greater reward than being able to turn a fellow man, woman, even child at this point, you know. This would be a great introductory knife to flippers, I think. I didn't have any lock failure. I did not have a single lock failure as far as whenever I was cutting and, you know, jamming it up against stuff. Like, it performed just fine. Of course, I talked to you about the flipping thing. But anyway, that is 24 hours with the bug out. And that's where this video ends, man. That's where this video ends. It's gonna, you know, it's, I'm not, I said the bug out, the fake bug out, the fake out, whatever you want to call it, man. Heavily impressed. It's just a little drop point knife, man. It really don't look that much like a bug out. Not really, you know. It doesn't feel at all like a bug out. It's got a way thicker handle. But anyway, that's it. That's all I got for you. You guys have a good one. I'll catch you on the flip side.